Hey, you're watching Half Asian Tarot Queen, and I'm Elisa. I did this new system today where I pre-shuffled a couple of the decks and laid them out, but I'm still gonna I'm gonna shuffle this deck. Ooh, the Earth Keeper and Middle World on the split. I think this is interesting because this is all about like the physical reality that we're living in and the Earth Keepers. What I'm kind of getting with that is that there's sort of this, reckoning that's happening in the physical world. Like there's been all these messages this month about breaking free from oppression and these like clashing ideas. Like there was a reading really early in the month where that was like really clear. There's like these clashing ideas and like one of them was like in line with sort of the truth and one of them was not. And so like there was going to be this big reckoning, that was going to play out. And I think like one way that this is sort of happening in like a larger context that everyone can relate to is with the election. And it's really weird because like I definitely have a situation like that that's playing out for me right now, but it's been really interesting how it's been playing out relative to the election. Like the timing of it is really kind of uncanny, and like these breakthroughs that'll happen with that situation and breakthroughs with my situation at the same time, and it's like a very similar circumstance in some ways, and so in the sense of like there's being like these clashing realities and like one of them's gonna prevail and one of them isn't, and yeah, it's really interesting. But you can check out some of the earlier readings. I will be referring to some of them up here too. But it's wild stuff that's going down these days. Big turning point for sure. Yeah, like right when I said that, it's just like the lightning card came out. I have a whole thread about the lightning card because it's so... I was getting it a lot for a while, but anyways, I'm gonna pick, oops. Okay. I feel like I'm getting like extra cards. Okay, so I'm taking these extra cards that flipped out just because, but for sure there's been a lot of like emotions coming through this month. And so yeah, at the bottom I got water and I got wind, which is interesting. And these are just kind of like underlying energies, but what I'm taking from that is like this, this is a card of change, and also having the courage to face the change and like face the wind. And like, when there's a change in the external world, there's a change internally too. And so to like examine that and sort of like ride the wave of the change is like really empowering, and so just like that coupled with this card, which like I'm just taking as like this big release of emotion. So it's just like really overwhelming, this change that's happening, and there's like these big emotions that are being released, but it's really empowering. And when I pulled those two off too, like at the bottom we got the hummingbird, and like the hummingbird is really like is like a fierce kind of like almost like this warrior bird, because it's like this tiny little bird, so you wouldn't really think that this bird could be so fierce and could weather these just like extreme conditions and like go these really long distances, but like the hummingbird like is powerful, so just remember that if you're feeling overwhelmed. there's a lesson to be learned from this change, and you know, have the courage to face the wind, face into the change, look internally about the lesson that, you know, and the awareness that's being delivered to you in this moment, because there's power there. And that's really the important thing, you know. I mean, you can't stop the change from happening. It's going to happen no matter what, you know. But if you can harness the power of that lightning bolt, well then, you know. And so, okay, so the first card we got is Sweat Lodge. So this is a card of healing and like going into the womb of Mother Earth. But it's also a card of sort of like detoxing and like shedding things that don't serve you anymore, you know. So there's this huge healing. I love how there's this bird flying over words too, you know, and there's this light at the end of the tunnel. So like right now it's kind of like this period of change, and it's kind of painful, you know. I mean, having to like sweat out all these toxins, like it's not pleasant, you know, and so you can get like really overwhelmed and like just kind of like not want to deal with it, you know. But the power is in facing the change, you know. And that's how you're gonna like kind of be lifted up from the experience, you know. So like, don't forget that. So then we have the Rattle. This is a card of like co-creating with the universe and like calling in the spirits to help you, you know. But like, it's like a double-edged sword in a sense, because it's like if your intentions aren't in alignment with highest good, or, you know, with God's intentions, or, you know, with the universe, like this can bring on like some perilous circumstances, you know. So like, you got to be careful when you call in that power, you know, that you are doing the right things for the right things, reasons, and are like in alignment with the highest good, you know. And then when the change comes, you know, you'll be empowered, you know. The universe is bringing something into your awareness that's going to change everything, you know. So, I mean, when you're going through all of this and it's overwhelming and you don't really know what to do and you kind of just want it to be over, just like remember that this is the whole point, you know. Like, if you can stay focused on this and stay positive, like, that's how you're going to have the best outcome, you know. And it's really hard to see the forest for the trees when you're in the moment, because it's very unsettling and painful, you know. But like, you got to remember that. Okay, so then we have the Gatherer. And so this is a card of just like abundance, and like this Gatherer can have faith that when they, you know, are walking through the universe, like the food and resources that they need are going to be, they're abundant, like all around, you know. So they'll be able to find them when they need them, you know. And this person is in alignment with that. So like, this is a card of abundance, and like knowing that the resources you need are there for you. And then we have, this is good. We have a card of magic. So, I mean, this is the thing. Like, when you are in alignment with the highest good, and you've done this introspection, if you've learned the lesson, then you'll be gifted with these like synchronicities and this magic, where what you need is gonna be there for you. So just keep the faith. You know, it's very unpleasant in this moment, but it's gonna work out. So don't lose hope. I'm gonna keep pulling cards, but this is actually really good. Like, it speaks to this very dramatic moment, but the potentiality in this moment is like really, really big, you know. Like, it's like make it or break it, you know. Like, so you gotta like channel your energy in the right way to sort of like take advantage of the opportunity that's here, you know. If you get like bogged down in like what's painful about it, you know, like you're gonna miss the boat, you know, because like it's like the moment, like it's gonna come and go, so you gotta like harness it like when it comes. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the Urban Tarot. I already shuffled them and put them out because I've just spent so much time shuffling that I was just trying to cut down on that, and plus I'm also running out of memory on my phone, and this reading's already like kind of long. So at the bottom we have disappointment. So yeah, like I said, you know, like there's this painful thing that's happening that we're gonna have to work through. And there, you know, that's part of the lesson, you know. So don't get bogged down in this energy, even though this energy is around, you know. And so when I look at the rest of the cards, it speaks to these clashing ideals that, like I was talking about. And there was a reading early in the month, I'm going to link it here, which really kind of personified that. But the first row, it's really beautiful. We have love, and it's right on top of the star, you know. So there's like this beautiful love connection, and it's right on top of the star, which is this card of healing and like wishes coming true, you know. And like it's almost like got this like total holiday theme too, you know. So it's just like maybe during this holiday season, like there's this total potential to make this connection. And like this card also speaks to some sort of like healing event. So it's like almost like maybe like a connection is being healed, or maybe you're like healing something internally that's like blocked you from making that connection. Like for example, like, you know, people carry around traumas when, you know, they get wounded, or like a relationship doesn't work out, you know, and so then they kind of carry that expectation around, and then it's like you got to heal that within yourself before you can experience the love again, you know. So this kind of speaks to some kind of situation like that, like but then it's interesting because the next thing we have is we have this Prince of Discs, which is the Day Trader. So it's kind of like the Page of Pentacles in the like traditional deck, but I get like a totally different thing from this, because this is like a day trader, like this stock trader guy, and like there's kind of like a little bit of a shady sort of thing going on, like this you know, like you can't quite like trust this guy, like there's something not right there, like, you know, like he's all about the dollars. So like you kind of just, not that he's like necessarily a bad guy, but like you got to examine his motives and just like, you know, be aware. But it's interesting because he falls on top of this failure card, which is the Seven of Pentacles in the traditional deck, you know. And so this kind of speaks to like this fallout, you know. But, you know, the Seven of Pentacles is a card about like seeds being planted for a new future. So it's almost like this fallout is a real, you know, I mean, it's a real like loss, but inherent in this loss is there's this new beginning, you know. So it's like we might be like encountering some kind of situation, and it might like maybe not necessarily be fair, you know. There might be a little bit of a shady thing going on, but the good thing about this is that it's going to like liberate you from something that like ultimately is maybe holding you back, you know. And you know, so the blessing in it is that you're kind of getting released from this situation that maybe isn't the best, you know, for you. And then we got the Seducer, which this is like a real charming, you know, like ladies man type, you know, but it's just sort of like, because we have this rock star who's also this ladies man, and we have this guy, the Seducer. And the thing about this guy that's like different, I think, he's like meeting you for drinks at the bar, you know, And he's kind of like selling like a false dream, you know, like that's the whole seduction part of it. Like there's this fantasy, you know, and like it's not really in alignment with reality. So ultimately, like he's trying to like sell you on this fantasy, but like it's inevitably going to crumble because it's not really like real. Like he's kind of like escaping life, you know. And so like maybe he believes it, you know, in the moment that he's telling you, and maybe that's really what he wants his life to be like, you know. Maybe it's not even sinister, but at the bottom like line, like end of the day, like it's not real. Like it's like a house of cards, you know. So it's like you got to be careful around this guy. And it's interesting as he falls right on top of the tower, which is like in this deck. It's really interesting because this has been coming up a lot. Like this just came up like 2 readings ago, and it also came up earlier this month in a reading called London Bridges Falling Down. I'll put both of those here, but this is Trump Tower because this is a deck of New York City. So like this is a total, his fantasy is like crumbling, you know, like this makes me think of like this you know, all these moments with like Rudy Giuliani, like in the news, like 4 Seasons Total Landscaping, or like he's like, you know, the press conference with like the hair dye or like running down his face, and he's like sweating because he's like, you know, telling all these tales that he won't tell in court, you know, but like he's got to sell it, you know, on TV, so he's like sweating, you know. And that's kind of like, I'm kind of getting that from this. It's like this guy's like trying to sell this fantasy, but it's like crumbling right underneath him. Like it's not gonna fly. Like no one's buying it, you know. And so then we have Indolence, which is a card of walking away, you know, like it's a card of walking away from a situation that doesn't serve you. And we have Futility right on top of that. So it's just like, this is a situation where like someone's like not in alignment with reality. So like their idea of how things are and how things really are, it's not the same, you know. So inevitably it's like a futile situation, and like you need to like walk away. So it's really interesting because we have all this potential right here, you know. So there's like someone who has this like beautiful potential here, you know, and it's almost like there's this shady situation that's a real bummer that's happening to them, but like it's kind of a blessing in disguise, you know, because the thing is this situation is totally crumbling, you know. And so it's just like this person was trapped in this situation, but it's going down, like it's like futile, you know. And so like we're like walking away from this situation that just like, it has no potential, it's a lie, it's not in alignment with the truth. I mean, that was the whole thing, you know. It's like the whole thing for the readings for the month is like breaking free from some sort of oppressive situation and having these dueling realities. Well, the cat is out of the bag. Like you can't pretend like no one's buying it. Like the hair dye, like I saw this clip, and it was like Brian Williams, you know, and they were talking about Rudy Giuliani and the like hair dye, and Brian Williams was like, do they even know how bad this looks? Like it looks really bad, you know. That's kind of what this is. Like, look, like it's time to move on. Like there's no more wasting energy on this. Like we all just need to move forward, you know. And then what's beautiful is at the end we have the Lovers over the Hierophant, you know. So this speaks to like this beautiful love foundation and like a marriage, like this family marriage stability card, you know. So it's like this person you know, they're like healing and they have like all this potential, you know, but they have to walk through this storm in order to like free themselves up. But it ends up here, you know, like this is on the ends of this situation, you know, like it's flanked by these things. So it's like almost like this person has to like go through this, but don't get discouraged by this moment, you know, because it's freeing you up for this, you know. So just remember that, you know, because the now is not super pleasant, you know, but like don't lose sight of the big picture because it's good, you know. And so then I also pulled from the Radiant Wise Spirit, and I got, you know, the Page of Wands, which is a like new perspective. And the cards that came out where we got the Knight of Pentacles. So like this is like things are actually moving forward, you know, like it's not stuck, like, but we're building a solid foundation. Like this Knight of Pentacles builds to last, you know. And then we have this Six of Cups, you know, which talks about this deep soulmate connection. So it like might be someone from the past, because that's, this card often refers to that, you know. And like taking a leap of faith into this. And we got this Page of Cups, this love being offered. And then we've got followed by the Nine of Cups. So like another card of someone's wish coming true, you know. So it's just like right now in this moment, it's just like destruction, you know. But it's really unpleasant right now, but it's actually just blowing up like this bad situation, you know, to make room for, it's gonna be good. Like, don't get discouraged by the now, because it looks really good, you know. The cards look really good for like after the dust settles from this explosion of drama. Maybe that's going to be like what this reading is going to be called, the explosion of drama. Because it does look pretty dramatic. I mean, just remember, it's just a moment at a time. It's going to pass. And this isn't like where you're going to end up. So I'm just telling you that to like help, because I know it doesn't feel very good when you're in it. And I mean, I'm kind of in one of those myself, to be honest. Okay, I'm going to pick 2 cards from Starseed to end the reading. Okay, we got Lost Land, Soul Memories and Gifts. You've done this before. Like, don't get discouraged. You got this. Like, it's going to be okay, I promise. And then we got We the Hathors, Deep Love, Mother's Milk, Birth as a Portal. So yeah, like you gotta blow up the bad, it's not working, to like make room for like really good stuff that's coming in, you know. It's just sort of like when babies are born, you know, like it's really painful and like it's horrible, but like it's a miracle, you know. So like keep that in perspective. It's actually good, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. So, okay, good luck. I'll check in soon, and I'm rooting for you.